All right, guys, it is good to be back with you. Got our weekly Zoom call. I don't know, we're six or seven of these into it, really enjoying them. And today I am honored and happy to have Kevin with IOA, Inflatable Operators Association, with us. Thanks to Tony for the introduce. I think Tony and Kevin have been the longest in this industry out of anybody in America. So I'm excited to have both of their knowledge. Kevin's going to talk about the IOA. I hear there's an upcoming event up in Nashville. He's going to talk about also, but I got to pick his brain a little bit yesterday and all that. And so I want to start out with a question. And I told Kevin I'm going to ask this, and it's going to sound like I am being maybe digging a little bit at him. I don't intend it that way. Like I told him yesterday, it's a legitimate question that I believe a lot of operators are going to ask. So I'm going to ask this, and then I'm going to let him run with it. But yeah, Kevin has been in the business it's been 28 years, something like that, 30 years. Retired
We'll go
sold the
with, yeah,
company
30
and
plus. It's actually
30
32,
plus.
but
But this
um,
man has done it all: rock walls, amusement rides, bounce houses. So the knowledge that he holds is you're going to find very, very valuable. We talked for about 45 minutes yesterday, and I was just getting a lot of insights and all of that. So anyway, this is going to be recorded. We're going to play this back to our YouTube channel and share it in the school group. So anyway, with that said, Kevin, it is so glad to have you here, man.
thank you, Jamie. Thank you very much.
But yeah, tell us about IOA. Tell us about. I'm going to ask the question that I hyped up so well. So
Yeah, I'm like, you got to ask a question,
I
Jamie.
know I just left it out there, but so when I see an association like something like this, and they want to charge you, which yours is very, very reasonable. But when I see somebody that wants to charge, I look at this like, yeah, I bet you would like my money. So with that said, explain the value to us, what it is, why it came to fruition, and just tell us about it. And I'm gonna just let you talk here, Kevin.
Yeah, and Jamie, we talked a little bit about that yesterday and stuff as well. And I respect that question because we work hard for our money and we want to keep it in our own pockets when we can. And we want to help put money in your pockets as well. But long story short, I've been involved with the industry for about 32 years. Had the opportunity to sell my company in 2021. And I did so because number one, well, not because I wanted to sell my company. I saw it as an opportunity to sell my company, but I had a triple heart bypass and loved this industry. Decided I better slow down a little bit, and I exited and didn't do things for a couple years. Was still active in the industry. Worked for a National Federation of Independent Businesses, which is a small business lobbying group that represents small businesses to state and national government. I was a member of that for probably over 25 years myself. I believed in what they did, and I always thought, with my involvement with the industry, that we needed representation. I'm from Ohio. I still live in Ohio, and we had some pretty significant fees associated with the licensing inspections. I wasn't against those fees, and I'm not against oversight. I'm not against safety. Nobody is. But it was kind of expensive. It was a lot expensive. For my company, I had over 100 some inflatables, had rock walls, trampolines, zip lines, whatnot. For me to be compliant and do my inspections annually, it was 37. It was over $37,000. That's just an annual compliance for licensing inspection, and I thought that wasn't fair. So that's how IOA came to be. There was actually seven independent companies that organized IOA as Ohio Inflatable Operators Association. We organize as a nonprofit 501c6 organization, which, if you look up the definition for that, it's a organization that's organized for the benefit of the industry, nonprofit, and you can be prepared to address situations or react to situations. And so we started IOA, And we had a positive influence on what we set out to accomplish here in Ohio by influencing those fees to be addressed. We actually got two representatives of the inflatable industry nominated and accepted to the Amusement Ride Safety Board here in Ohio. We got some fee um, revisions done, and we're actually working right now with the state of Ohio, Ohio Department of Agriculture, to if we're successful this next go round, which I think we will be, and I've been assured that it's looking great. In the budget bill, we're going to see a reduction of almost 50% in the fees we're paying here in Ohio. I've also worked with the Nevada legislature here recently on Lily's Law. We've actually provided them resource materials because Nevada was an unregulated state. However, due to an accident that happened a little over a year ago, there was a young girl, Lily, 5 years old, and unfortunately, with that accident, she lost her life. So, safety, risk management, those are the things we focus on. I was involved with Pennsylvania Ride Safety Division in presenting their safety and risk management for their requirements that they have over in Pennsylvania. I am a NARSO Level 1 amusement ride safety inspector, and I was involved with the ASTM committee, the F2374 committee for the reorganization of the standards. So that's a lot about me. Why do we need an association to represent the inflatable industry? Because over the last 20 years of me being an operator, I'm thinking we need something that represents our interests and what we need to do. We need to operate differently as an industry, in that we need to focus on safety and risk management. We also need representation for advocacy on things like we're doing with Ohio. And so with that, I stepped away from the inflatable industry. I was on the board for IOA. I actually resigned and stepped down from the board, and with the support of the rest of the board members, was encouraged to take the position I'm in now to build the association for all the reasons we just talked about. So there is ARA, great organization. I love them for their education, love them for what they represent, and I love them for what they do for the general tool and event rental industry. We didn't have that. We don't have that in the inflatable industry, and that's where IOA was basically conceived to address those issues. IAPA is a great organization. I love going to IAPA. Been to IAPA probably 25 years straight. Maybe didn't buy something every year, but I met some great people there that I went back to talk about and mentor with and share ideas and just kind of go out and talk about the good, bad, and the ugly that happened this past year. And I think we all have those people that we lean on. You guys got a great group that you're organizing, and you can kind of share those ideas, share them. I share what you're doing in your business with others, and it helps you achieve the goals that you set out and the profit that you want to generate for your business. So IOA is Inflatable Operators Association. Why do we need your cash and your money? And do we want to take it all? Absolutely not. We want to support you to make more, but we need the sustainability to be there for the association so that we can do accomplish the goals that we've set out to do in representing the industry. And we've organized this conference coming up, the conference and the expos, April 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. And that's only a tip of the iceberg in, the programs and the benefits we want to provide to people that, join us and want to be part of IOA.
Hey,
So was
Kevin.
that too long, Jesse or Jamie?
No, that was perfect. Matter of fact, tell us about the conference. So this is going to be if I'm going to give you my 10,000-foot view of what I understand. It's going to be like an IAPA, in a different part of the country, right? You're going to have vendors, going to have training. What is all
Well,
that?
the only way it's different from IAPA is that it's focused on the inflatable industry. It's our show. It's for the inflatable operator. Although we do have ADM rides there, which is kind of cool because if anybody's looking to expand into carnival rides, ADM is a great manufacturer. They're going to be represented there. We also have 11 of the top inflatable manufacturers who in essence kind of created this and made it become a reality because without their support in putting everything together, and I talked to them back at IAPA and we said, hey, why don't we do this in 2026? And I'm trying to move my screen here so I can see all of the individual vendors that I've been working on here. Um, and I think I got it here. But I know I said, why don't we do this in 2026? I talked to Tony actually from Titan Inflatables and Kevin from HEC Inflatables, and we had a meeting before the HEC party, which a lot of people probably go to. It's a great event, and I said, let's do this 2026. And then Tony from Titan talked to some of the other manufacturers. He came back to me and says, we want to do it in 2025. And I said, that's hustling pretty hard, Tony. I don't know if we can do that, but he says, well, here's the people that will support this if we can make it happen. So he showed me the list of the manufacturers at that time that said, hey, we want an inflatable show. We want, and I said, well, we want to present the education, the safety and risk management that IOA has developed. Can we do that? Yeah, absolutely. You guys put that together. So that's what we did. And it's been a sprint the entire time. Essentially we had 90 days to put this together. If you remove the holidays with, Thanksgiving and Christmas, and then you're into the new year and whatnot. So we essentially, I think, had 90 days to put this together. I think we did a pretty good job. We got it out there. Our website is inflatableoperators.org. We got 3 days of education. We did a call for educational presentations through the website and getting it out there to social media, and then also people I've known in the industry to say, hey, I think you know what you're talking about. Would you mind sharing that with others that come to this conference? And we actually ended up putting 2 days of safety, 2 days of general education that range from accounting, general business practices, and HR, and how to do production of events, how to do management of your company, and that schedule is actually online at inflatableoperators.org. You go to the conferences and expo, and you can see the education and the safety that's there. Working on publishing the layout for this exposition, the trade show part of it. And again, we got Bouncing Angels, Leisure Activities, Eye Candy, Titan Inflatables, HEC, Ninja Jump, Tent and Tables there. And I think they got giveaways every day like they typically do. Easy inflatables, big and bright inflatables, and jump orange inflatables. I
Yeah.
mean, and then games to go is there as well. So I didn't want to forget
Heard
everybody.
that
Anyway,
Chad, who's in our school group, is actually going to be teaching like I don't know 8 different some lessons on inflatable office. Also, right?
yeah, he has 8 different sessions. That's a separate education that's been organized as well. Inflatable Office has really kind of supported the efforts in developing this conference because they're also using it for an IO university, which is a training on their behalf. And Chad is working with IO to present 8 hours of his advanced training. I respect Chad for everything he's been able to do with inflatable office, and he's going to share that in person with people there for 8 hours. I think IO has I don't know 12 or 13 hours of training on everything that functions with IO and how to manipulate that. And a lot of their users, I actually worked with IO for a period of about 2 years, and I used IO in my business for 15 years. And I respect what they've been able to provide to the industry, and being all things considered, equal playing field for everyone. BCN actually made the decision to come over and exhibit as well. ERS is exhibiting. They're coming as well. So it's a good area to compare the different software platforms and decide what's best for your business. And I think IO has a great opportunity where you can actually get your training if you're already involved with IO, or significantly kick the tires per se and see how other people are using it and talk to them. Talk to Chad, talk to other users that are sitting right next to you. And I think everybody's going to learn a ton.
Hey
So,
Kevin, what would you say to somebody who's an introvert?
Jamie, you said that was you for a few years. And I would tell you, you know, and we've had this question, hey, do you have the recordings? Can you share the recordings? Are you going to stream it? This is live and in person. This is past COVID. COVID was a pain in the butt to all of us. We couldn't meet live and in person anymore. And I think half the benefit of going, this is why I went to IAPA for 25 years straight. Yeah, I spent some money over the years, and yeah, I unfortunately made some impulse decisions and bought things I probably wasn't prepared to, but I did. And it was a good, I mean, it worked out. It was okay. But I went there to talk to people, and I went there to, network. And if you come to Inflatable Operators Association or IAPA or any conference, don't sit in your room. Don't sit in the corner, sit next to somebody, introduce yourself, and the dividends that you're going to receive from just talking and networking with people are going to be far, by and large, substantially more than watching something from a YouTube video or anything else. Because you're there, you're making connections, you're asking questions, and people are sharing with you, giving you their phone number so you can follow up with them a year or two later and say, hey, we met at IAPA. Yep, absolutely. Let's meet again next year and, network.
Hey, when it comes to this conference, how much does it cost? What are the dates and times of it again?
It is April 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. That is a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Most people are getting in on Monday because the education starts at 8 o'clock in the morning. We have actually safety certification, which is our owner operator level one safety certifications. We have a team of 6 individuals that are part of that committee. All of them are NARSO level one or higher certifications. Um, Michael Vivang was actually the ASTM task group chair prior to the current chair, which, he's going to be providing some. We're actually having an ASTM meeting there. So that will be held on Wednesday at 8:30. The manufacturers are going to be involved in that. And we talk about compliance to the standards and improving safety. A lot of us, I don't know that we thoroughly understand the standards. And what we do is try to explain it from a why perspective. So, we can share that knowledge, you understand why. And a lot of what we talk about is even having manuals available to the owner operators. And when I have presented for safety and whatnot, I said, hey, who has a manual? And then, a lot of the questions I had, well, where do we get the manuals? That shouldn't be a question that should be asked because you should get them automatically from the manufacturers. And, the manufacturers, and I'm not going to point fingers at anyone because I think collectively as an industry, we can do better and we should do better. And if we help each other out, manufacturers provide manuals, owner operators understand the manuals, your inspectors and AHJs that are regulating the industry understand that we're all working together to make this a better industry. I think we win, and that's when we start to do things better and we avoid long play. We talked yesterday, Jamie, is say, how's it going to influence insurance? That's a hard question because insurance is based on, accidents and issues, operating safely. And, I think we can influence that, but it's a 5 year long process or more because we got to prove it, and we've got to provide programs that are going to be accepted by the insurance providers too, that, they say, hey, you guys are making a difference. And, we've got say 1,000 operators that are together represented in this association, and we can speak collectively and say that we're willing to do this right thing. In fact, we have 500 of them operators that are certified owner operator level one training, and we're prepared to do the right thing. Can you help us? Can you reduce those rates?
Yeah.
And
I
that's
want
when
to
we're
give
going to
one
come to the table.
perspective on this, Kevin, also is plumbers, HVAC, roofers, those type of industries have what you call Google Guarantee. When you go on there and you advertise those, you can get that Google Guarantee badge. They are certified, they're verified, they have insurance, they have licensing. I would love to have something like that in the party rental space. Of course, that's with Google,
Yeah,
but to be verified that we show up there just like a plumber who's verified, they had background checks, they show up above anybody who can go and create a Google business. And I believe like what you're doing with IOA can help lead to that. And that leads me to one of my questions. When it comes to employees, do you guys have any kind of the manuals that you're talking about, but for training?
Yeah, and we're hustling, and like I said, Jamie, it's been a sprint since November and December when we were at IAPA to just organize the conference. We actually brought on a new person as our member services rep, Steve Rothenberg. He's based over in Maryland, and he's a previous operator, so he has the experience as well. And he actually sits on the Maryland Amusement Ride Safety Board. But he's our member services rep, and he's been doing an awesome job. He's been actually talking with each of the states that have regulation and doing we actually have Illinois, Oklahoma, and Tennessee all are sending inspectors to participate in the same training that we're offering to owner operators. I'm an RSO level one inspector, but I'll be honest with you, if you achieve that and you take the test, there's two, maybe three, maybe four. It's a random question test. There's only three or four questions that are dealing with inflatables. So that tells me there's a void, where people can learn more about ASTM F2374, which is a standard that represents inflatable amusements. And that's what we're providing as certification. And it's not just that Google logo of approval. I guarantee if you achieve the certifications, you're going to understand as much as the inspectors, and you're going to be able to train your people better as an owner operator, and you're going to be provided with the resources to understand the safety standard and accomplish safe operations. Are we going to do more for your employees? Absolutely. We all came from amusement rental industry. I know that there's you work with a lot of younger adults or kids that are over 16 years of age because that's what's required of age by the standard, but you're working with these, and sometimes they work for you for a year or two, or maybe they only work every other weekend. And it's hard to get everybody together in one meeting. But I think if we provide the online training, not in depth to the details that an owner operator would get, but a certified installer and maintenance person, a certified owner operator, or excuse me, owner attendant, excuse me, operator attendant, alphabet soup here, losing my mind, Jamie. But attendant, that's going to provide them the education that they need to be a valuable employee for you. And then also it allows them, if they do, maybe they see this as a career path that they want to get involved with and be more than a part-time employee for you, but your business is growing, you're doing well, and you've got to look for employees. If they see it as an industry that they can do well at and achieve more from being part of it, and get that education that they need, I think it elevates that perception of our industry as being organized and professional, and you can actually achieve these things and be knowledgeable and credible.
One thing that I've got to remind myself of, the first bounce house was invented in what, 1979 or something like that? Am I right?
Yeah, actually, it was Spacewalker Sales Frank Skurlock. I believe it's either I think Frank's dad or whichever. But yeah, crude beginnings. They haven't been around that long as I think the 70s or so. The first bounce house. I did read that story and studied up on that. And then I started getting involved with the industry in early 90s. And really all we had was a few slides and some bounce houses at that time too. But then the creativity just started exploding. And I know the Titanic slide from Cutting Edge was the big deal, and unfortunately there was a couple accidents that really made that an issue as well that happened with that slide. So, and then everything started, we started doing bungee runs and obstacle courses, and combos were born with, putting a slide with a bounce house. That was a great idea. And coming up through the 90s and early 2000s, every time you went to IAPA, you saw something new, and it was exciting. And
Yeah.
now there's not so much new coming out, but there's new themes, or new designs, new creativity. But there's not as much, hey, there's a brand new obstacle course, or hey, I never knew what an obstacle course was before. Now we got it. So,
Yeah.
um,
Great point. Great point. But it's such a new industry, really, when you think about it. And that's why when you see like things like IOA, I know things have been tried in the past to where, when it's all volunteers, like we were talking about yesterday, when it's
yeah,
volunteer and, it kind of like a firework, it takes off, people are excited, but then it fades very, very quickly because unless you have somebody like you, Kevin, who's got the experience and the knowledge and can be compensated for this type of thing, you're not going to really be able to have this thing last for a long time. So that's one thing I was telling Kevin after hearing about IOA and all that is I definitely want to be a part of it. I'm definitely going to go sign up because I do see value in it. When it comes to this, I've noticed on my website, there's a lot of people who are uninsured, and I've tried marketing that I am insured. Guys, a lot of times people don't care. You know what I mean?
yeah,
But it's something like this also. One of my competitors has the CIOTA, I think it is. I forgot the exact.
IOTA, yeah,
Yeah, that they are CIOTA certified, and I'm kind of like I'm OG certified. I've been in this long enough, but anyway, it was like, does that really bring people in? It's not about that. And so anybody who's on the fence about this, I would tell you this is this industry does need regulation. Right now in the state of Georgia where I am, you don't have to be insured. You just have to have a business license, and they really don't even track you after that. You know what I mean? So this is a business that everybody knows it's easy to gain entry, and once you figure out the marketing side, then you can really take off and really almost kind of change your life. But it does need oversight, like we were talking about with Kevin here. So,
yeah.
yeah,
And you rely on people to do the right thing. And
yeah,
let's be generous. There's probably 50% of us that'll do the right thing. Let's say the other 50% maybe isn't operating their business to a degree that they're making enough income to afford insurance.
yeah,
That's a problem. They should. We'll teach you how to do the job costing, and set your pricing to be at levels where you can be successful, and that's part of the conference. But we don't want to see people fail. We want to help them be successful. I don't want to see anybody go out of business. I want to see people do better, and I want to see the industry be safer.
yeah,
So those are the goals we want to accomplish. And we're going to live and die by volunteers still, but we all know it's this time of year, actually. Everybody's gearing up for what I call Christmas time in the inflatable industry. We start making money because the business starts to pick up. It gets nicer in the northern climates, and we start to see spring and summer, and we start renting more, and we start making the money that we should be making as businesses. So then we don't focus as much on the association or whatnot. And that's where we still maintain that. We still maintain the focus of working with the states that we have relationships with. We still maintain the focus of developing programs, and we still maintain the focus of working with manufacturers and industry resource partners is what we call them, to develop relationships that we can do an awesome show in 2026, produce an awesome show here in just a few weeks, week and a half, as a matter of fact. I'm stressing here, Jamie. But we got everything coming together. We got a lot of volunteers that are already helping produce the show. We got a lot of people volunteering their time to share their talents and experience in educational sessions. And our SEC committee, which is a standards education and compliance, they've been organized for the safety aspect of what we do, and they're all coming to present the 8 hours of safety that we have. So, so yeah, it's coming together nice. It's the beginning of the year. I recognize that people are getting busy, but I would say if you want to come to the show and just see the expo, you can come for free. All of the manufacturers that are there have codes that can give you free access to the expo. And it's normally $99, not exorbitant. Our membership to be part of the organization on an annual basis is $299. We sat down as a board and put that together thinking that this is a reasonable amount. It's essentially $25 a month. And if we get enough people to participate, that's enough to sustain the organization. And we're not charging too much, and we're only asking a little from everyone. And I hope we can deliver, big results where they can see that this is a valuable thing that the industry needs.
Yeah, I
So
agree. I think anytime, like I was telling you, my little introverted self is anytime you can get together with other people in the industry, it makes us all better. And I'll say this also when it comes to the safety point. When I first started in the industry, I had one bounce house. It was a 13 by 13. I picked it up used and I was renting it to one of my buddies. I was giving it away for free. Well, back in the day, I didn't know any better, and I went cheap, very cheap. I went to Lowe's and I got the orange plastic stakes, and I staked it down with that.
yep.
And an afternoon storm came through, and it picked that bounce house up. Now, thank God there were no kids in it, but it picked that bounce house up,
Yeah.
and the only thing that kept it from flying away was I always back then I would wrap part of the cord around like the light pole where this power cord was, any kind of thing like that for a trip hazard. That way it didn't unplug the blower. That
Sure.
was my thinking back in the day. And my buddy said, yeah, man, it was some 50-mile-per-hour winds, a little kind of micro burst storm came through and it picked that thing right up. And it was literally just hanging up by a pine tree. And it was still tied around that power pole. So I just pulled it back down, turned it off. But
Yeah.
I think I say all that to say this. There's too many times in especially these Facebook groups, people will go out and post pictures of setups where they see stuff wrong, whether it be no sandbags, you name it. But we need to do better as an industry. And people have been in this business for a while. Instead of calling each other out on Facebook groups to try to get whatever dopamine effect, whatever it is that you think you're going to get, private message those owners, call them. Sometimes these are churches who own these units and they don't know any better.
Yeah.
So instead of calling them out on Facebook, go to them, tell them what they're doing. Because, like me back then in that day, I thought I was saving money on those orange steaks, plastic steaks. I didn't know any better. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So this is all about training. We have to do better as the industry also.
Yeah. And
Um,
sometimes, one of the things I emphasize is our customers are their own worst enemies because they don't know. They
yeah,
don't know what they don't know. And they think that that orange steak is sufficient enough to hold it down. You did as well at that time. We know it's not now. I mean, the ASTM standard is an 18-inch by 1-inch steak to hold it down. Some people agree with that, some people don't. And I'm on your side either way. And I think if we want to push back and make that a 5/8 inch steak by 18-inch, we could possibly do that, but we got to know the holding power of that steak. And we got to have the engineering standards from the manufacturers of that inflatable to sign off and say, this is acceptable. This size steak will hold down this size inflatable. And that's what your manual is for. Your manual is going to give you all of that information. So, I'm all for, and in fact, at the conference, we're doing a pull-out capacity study on Tuesday at 2 o'clock. And they're actually going to be pulling stakes and they're going to be able to register the value of the pull-out capacity for each of those size stakes. So we are going to video that, by the way. But that's one of the things we're going to be doing there. And the other education. And I'm telling you, the social media and YouTube and that's my best friend as a safety official,
yeah,
as an inspector, as whatnot, because I get all my material from the internet. When you look at the safety presentations we have for you, you'll have probably some of the things you see on the internet that isn't right. And I won't call anybody out on the post that they're on, but we're going to use your material of you doing stupid stuff, and it's going to be part of a program. So you'll be famous. You'll be famous in the But we have 8 hours of training that's based on ASTM F2374. Again, Sonny Silva is the task chair. He's from Canada. Sonny's coming down from Canada for the IOA conference to do the ASTM meeting, which is going to be live streamed as well to anybody that's a member of ASTM. And then NARSO, we've actually presented some safety training at NARSO this past go around in Charlotte to, get over that hump where there's only 3 or 4 inflatable questions on the level, one test. We're actually having an inflatable certification that is the very same that owner operators are achieving. So again, everybody has the knowledge. We're all working together and we can improve. And safety isn't just a word, it's a culture for what we hope to create to be better for the inflatable industry. So
Kevin, I need to put this on your goal list.
the
Is the Google guarantee. Whatever
Google
kind of
guarantee,
pull.
we will have more than a Google guarantee. It's going to be, education and training to understand what we do and how we do it and how to do it right.
Yes. Matter of fact, I'm signing up under my marketing stuff like an HVAC guy and a wrecker. And both, I mean, they are validating every single piece of information along with
Yeah.
background checks. You know what I mean?
Well,
And like, guys, please understand, I'm like most everybody here. I started out with the one bounce house and orange plastic steaks. Okay. So I have been there to where, I was in ministry and I had to make some money somehow. So I understand the hustle and I've got nothing against anybody, but we've got to do stuff that not only set the people who know what they're doing, but we need to
yeah.
be able to, like Kevin's been saying, we need to be able to train. So it's just that simple.
Yeah, and as you said, every industry has, I venture to say almost every industry has an association or a group that represents their industry. And this is one of the things I talked to you a little bit about yesterday and probably what we'll end with today as well, is I learned a word about 10, 15 years ago. It was actually at a special event that we did, and I was an owner operator, and they talked about co-opetition.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of a made up word. It's a combination of 2 words, cooperation, and that we're all working together to achieve what needs to be done to maintain the success and integrity of our industry so that we're here 10 years from now and don't have the same insurance issues or the licensing or the compliance issues, that we're all working together to make this industry work the way we think it should work. And so that's cooperation. And then competitors, we're all competitors. We have the competition of, hey, Jamie, you want to put a proposal together to win the business that's in your market, in your industry area, and you want to win that business. So do I if I'm in your industry as well or in your area. And we're gonna put the best proposal we can do, submit it to the client, talk to them, make them know, like, and trust us the best they can, and they're going to make a decision that I like A company or B company, and they're going to get the business. But we're all going to, and hopefully we win the business that we deserve. We run a successful business. There's plenty to go around, and through co-opetition, we cooperate together to make the industry what we want it to be. And we're still competitors to make the money that we need to make to be successful. And on every corner, you see a McDonald's and a Burger King getting along. They're competitors. They're right next to each other, but they both sell enough hamburgers to stay in business. So that's what co-opetition is, and what we want to embody and try to, move forward in trying to organize everybody to be a member of IOA. We want to help you. So I just talked with the group from ERS this morning, and he says, we want to come represent as well. And, again, everybody, if you go to the inflatableoperators.org, you can see the schedule. If you have the opportunity and the means to go, you can simply go. We have a Save 150. The education and the safety training is not free. You can come to the show and look at the show and get in with an exhibitor code for free. We do charge, it was $299 for the education and safety training. If you use that code Save 150, which is actually valid until this Friday, And then otherwise it goes back up to normal price. You get in for 150 and can do any of the education, any of the training, and that goes to the sustainability of the association as well, so that we can continue to do what we do.
Kevin, do they get a does that come with the membership to the IOA also?
Membership to the IOA is $299.
Okay, gotcha.
So if you sign up at the conference, they actually have a deal with you do get a anybody. Do you know what an anemometer is, Jamie?
I
The
don't.
anemometer?
No.
It's we'll teach you. But it's basically measures wind speed. It's a small little. In fact, I think I got one in my office here. I did. Where it went to, who knows? And
Now,
now
is
my
this the
daughter's gonna
equivalent to
want it.
licking your
Don't have
thumb
it.
and holding it up in the air?
Yeah, basically it measures the wind speed miles per hour. It's about that big, not very big. Um, Actually, they're only about 18 or $20,
Oh, wow.
and everybody on your crew that's setting up should probably have one because it's something that they're going to use on each setup. How many of us do a pre-opening inspection when we set something up? And we go and we're going to walk away. How many of us complete a pre-opening inspection? It's a requirement if we're compliant with the standard, but how many of us do it?
Hmm.
And then let me offer you this. If something happens and you can go back to those documents and, say that you've set things up correctly and have the record of all of that, and you're not going to get notice on Monday if there was an issue. You're going to get notice probably Monday, 2 years from now that says, hey, you know, my daughter or my son, unless it was something serious, obviously you're going to know right away. But sometimes frivolous lawsuits pop up where you can defend yourself on those things. And if you have the appropriate documentation of how you're doing business and you have a risk management process in place to protect you from, again, frivolous lawsuits that shouldn't even be brought up against you, but they are, and then you defend yourself with them. That's why you need insurance, and they'll defend those. And if you have the right documentation and the right paperwork in compliance with the standard, you'll stand a better chance at being successful in making those things go away before they're an issue.
That's a great point. And that is how you market insurance if you're a bounce house rental company. You don't market that you have insurance. You market that all of the standards that you have to abide by to be insured, that is the safety
Yeah,
that you
you're
market
in
to your
compliance
customer.
with them. And I tell people all the time, we do spend some money on safety. We spend money on safety to operate safely, but we should also be putting our logos on these things. One of the things was, I wish I had oh, I do have the whistle here. I just don't have, one of the things that ASTM recommends, and it's actually in the appendix, it's part of the training, is warning people of misbehavior through use of a whistle. And think about who else uses a whistle to warn people when they're misbehaving.
Teachers.
Teachers, lifeguards,
Like,
referees, traffic police. And when they blow the whistle, they get people's attention. And it's a more accepted means of disciplining people rather than if you're at a country club event and you're yelling at, somebody's kid that, hey, you're not following the rules, get out of there. Why don't you listen to me? That's kind of not the best way. But if we use the whistle, we blow the whistle, and better yet, and I said brand safety with your company's image. And I don't know if you can see this, but that was my company, Ultrasound Special Events. I put it on the whistle. And when we drop things off for people to use in the back or in their backyards, who then is the operator of that unit in most cases? Who is the operator, Jamie?
parent.
The parent. As an owner operator of the company owning that inflatable, based on the standards, I need to train that person to supervise that attraction. It's got to be in writing. It's got to be a document. We also got to do that pre-opening inspection. But I can give them this whistle. They know because they've signed off on the documents that provide the training to them. It's not a 2-day course. It's a 15-minute conversation, but we put it in writing so they can reference it. Everything's got to be in writing. They also sign off on the documentation that they've been trained and understand how they do that because I guarantee if something happens, they're going to say, you never talked to me about this. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just a parent. We never covered this, but we did. And it's written and then it's in writing. I have your signature that you did it. But also, like I said, we left the whistle behind so that they could then keep that whistle. Obviously, we don't want anybody's slobber coming back on the whistle, but their kids also end up, playing with the whistle and things too. And here's a trivia question. What is what are the best, or excuse me, what birthday parties are the most memorable that we go through?
Man, the ones with the bounce house from my business, you know?
It's a trick question. It's the best birthday party and the worst birthday party are the two birthday parties that you remember.
Mm.
So, but every time somebody blows a whistle, and you just said the best birthday parties are with the bounce house birthday parties, every time they blow the whistle and it's got, what's the name of your company, Jamie?
Spring forward inflatables.
And if it has spring forward inflatables on the whistle,
I
every
love it.
time they blow that whistle, they're thinking, man, that was a good party with spring forward inflatables. And in fact, I got their website and I got their logo on this whistle. And they were so concerned about safety that they did all of these extra things that XYZ company doesn't do. And I trust them more than I trust that other company. And I want to work with them. So
Kevin, I am stealing that idea and claiming it as my own. I
I
love that
think a lot
idea.
of I think a lot of ideas are stolen, but you don't have to steal it. I'm sharing it with you because I want you to have it. So
I appreciate you not copywriting it. So, but I love that idea because, the other thing is when it comes to not just the logo and the branding, but like my kids would love it. Now, it might drive me crazy, but regardless of that, my kids would love it. You know what I mean? So I love the unique marketing ideas like that. So, you know
yeah,
what
and
I mean?
that's where, like I said, we want to brand, we want any money you're spending on safety to reinforce the reputation of your company.
Yeah.
And a lot of people, how do I get over being a $99 bounce house company? Be better than a $99 bounce house company. Have that perceived value, have the systems in place so that, hopefully you're not going out and setting every bounce up anymore, Jamie. But, and as owners, we shouldn't be going out and setting up every bounce. But when you have that pre-opening inspection, you have that checklist, you have all the things that are supposed to be done, you can audit that process. You can take a look at those documents when they come back and you can know and you can have training to your people so you can bring on good staff that understand their job, understand their responsibility, and more so what can happen if they don't fulfill them responsibilities and know that everybody's doing a good job. And like I said, it just reinforced that safety is part of your company and your reputation then also is developed in that you're a safe operator because of the things you do.
Kevin, I really appreciate your time with us. Ton of value here. So before you go, I'm going to ask one question that I'm going to ask everybody that I have on this, just like you. Over your course of the party rental industry, what was the flop? For instance, mine was knocker balls. I got into that fad and I was, what was your funniest or worst fad that you bought into?
Yeah, well, I tell you what, IAPA was a blessing and a curse sometimes because sometimes you look at something and you think, that's going to be a great idea. Let's do it. And then you buy it and then you're like, I don't know that I should have did that. I can tell you the one that I really, 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 I made money back on it because I think it was only $4,000 at the time. And I mean, we put things out for 350 or $400 each for rental. And but I'll tell you what it was. It was a jelly. It was the jelly ball or the
The
paintless
guns?
paintball.
I
Paintless.
did
They
it
had
too.
little jelly balls that shot. They weren't paint, but
Yep.
then they collected in the bottom of the game per se. And yes, they did, but you had like 1,000 of these jelly balls that you had to clean up after every event. And you had to fill the guns with CO2. They were actually paintball guns that they used to, shoot at the target. And yeah, it was just a pain in the butt to manage, produce, and clean up. And, it wasn't that it wasn't a pretty cool game because I think it was, but, the extra work that was put into managing it and, cleaning it up was the hardest thing. And but I will also tell you, when I was looking at that game, I met a good friend of mine. His name is Preston Medlock. He's from Mississippi. And he says, hey, what do you think about this? Talk about coming out of your shell. He's like, hey, what do you think about this? I'm like, I think I might buy it. I think it's pretty cool. Try it. And he goes, yeah, me too. I think I might get one too. And we both wrote up orders at the same time for whatever the jelly ball was called at the time. I don't know. And we kept in touch ever since then. And he says, man, that was the dumbest thing I think we bought. And one other thing that reminds me of Preston as well, we were at IAPA, a lot of IAPA stories here, and I hope these good conversations start at IOA conference as well. But they had a robot costume and it had an iPad on the front, and it was all made out of fiberglass, and I mean, an awesome costume. We're like, wow, we can use that for corporate events and do some things with it. And I don't even know how much it was, too much at the time. And we decided that Preston and I got to be good friends. We said, well, we'll buy it together and we'll share that robot. And we did. And that's the second thing we bought that was the stupidest thing we ever did. So if you
You
come to
have
the
to rent that
IOA,
out.
if you come to the IOA conference, I'll give you the three, four, and five, but I'm not going to tell you all right now. So
I love it. I love it. Hey, Kevin, thank you so much. Remind us again for the conference and for IOA, where can people go to sign up for both of those?
inflatableoperators.org is our website. We're actually developing that more. It's a great website right now. There's a members only component coming to that with knowledge-based safety training. Also, we're going to have some resources on there as well that, will help our membership as we develop them. One of the things that I know is coming to IOA conference is a relationship we've developed with Ticket Spice. It's actually an online ticketing app. And I know a lot of people potentially do school and church and civic events, or pay-per-play event where you might be selling tickets. This gives you the ability to sell your wristbands or your tickets online, and it actually then enhances the ability for those people to commit to coming because, if they wait till the last minute to buy a ticket, they might change their mind and somebody might say, hey, let's do this instead. Whereas if they committed to buying a ticket online, and they also have online waiver features that go along with the ticketing, that you can buy that online and then you can redeem them at that location at your event with a scan code and whatnot and get your wristband. And it commits those people to buying and participating ahead of time. So you kind of know that, hey, we have 200 people coming or we have 2,000 people coming, and we got to prepare and have enough people here to do this. So Ticket Spice is giving an educational session. If you search Google Ticket Spice, you'll kind of see a little bit more about that. And those are industry partnerships we've been forging forward to, kind of create that provides resources to help us operate better.
Yeah,
So,
I love that, man. That's a great idea.
so yeah. So
Um, I got an idea for you, might already be on this, but when it comes to SEO, backlinks are very, very crucial. Are there any talks with IOA website being a provider of just saying, like, hey, here's a list of our certified operators in America or wherever the world with a link to their own website?
yeah, we can, Jamie, I think we can benefit from each other, and that's what I think an association perspective accomplishes. We can have the brightest minds and people that know, and want to help. And, we're here to help. We're here to put those things, into the IOA website, into the IOA education, into the conference and the expo and things like that. So we can share that information. So, inflatableoperators.org, at this time, we need, to build our membership. We've actually been doing a great job. I know we're over 100 members. I know last time I had checked a couple weeks ago. Really been focusing on, we have over getting close to about 250 people registered for the conference for the education and the safety training. I know Liberty United Insurance recently just came and said they want to sponsor a safety scholarship for the inflatable training. So you need to pay to attend the conference, but there was a $75 fee to take the test and get the certification. They're actually covering that for anybody that wants to be in this first certification class at the conference. And they've actually provided the payments to do that, and you get to do it, at no cost. You just got to fill out the application to be the certified owner operator level one, and you're the first class of graduates to gain that certification based on the ASTM standards.
That is
So
awesome. Kevin, I love what you're doing, man. Really do. I appreciate you taking time with us today. And we're all going to remember no jelly ball guns. So, anyway, but
no,
hey,
no,
man,
no.
I wish you luck with the conference and especially IOA. So, man, appreciate you being with us, brother.
Yeah. If anybody could help us out, I would say just, go to our social media, which is also Inflatable Operators. Um, you can go to the website, which is inflatableoperators.org, and, share that information. We'd love for everybody to, give us a shot and, join us, help us build this thing. I'm there, Steve's there to work on your behalf. When things get busy, we're going to still be focusing on, what's best for the industry and moving things forward. And we hope to provide some more ideas and, training from people that are willing to share, things like Chad Burkholder is doing. And I don't know if just Chad on this call right now.
He's not on the call right now.
He's
He was here
probably getting
last
ready
week.
to present at the conference, I would imagine. He's
Yeah,
probably a busy guy.
yeah, that's
So,
right.
but
8 sessions, my Lord.
we missed you, Chad. Get those 8 hours under your belt and teach everybody a little bit about how you use inflatable
Yeah,
office. So
that's right.
thanks for
Well,
having me today, Jamie.
yeah, absolutely. Hey, I'm going to put in the school group, guys, I'm going to put the links to both the event in Nashville and the Iowa website. So, anyway, thanks again, Kevin, man. Really appreciate you, dude.
All right. We stayed right
Y'all
in
take
and
care.
at an hour too, so
Yeah,
we didn't go over time.
that's
Good
right.
job.
We made it, man.
Thank you all. Thank
All right,
you.
see you guys.